Hi, welcome to Tarot Time. Happy Sunday morning for the live people. Welcome. And if you're here's a video, we'll get started in just a minute or two. So for Tarot Time, we come together as a community. Obviously, we work with tarot. So I'll do a meditation card for the weeks for something for us to work on metaphysically speaking. I'll do a 3-card spread to pick up on the energies of the coming week. I have other divination cards, other oracle decks, and we'll do an energy transmission and group prayer near the end. So this is kind of our community hour also. So I'll be checking out your comments and interacting that way. And let's just have a good time. We're really in a lot of strong and changeable energy now. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just see who's here so far. So hello, Brooke and Deborah for now, and hopefully Deborah forever. Well, in this lifetime, right? Hey, Millie. Hi, Linda. Hey, Doreen. Welcome. And hello, Jess M. F. Shaw. Happy Sunday. And hi, Roseanne. And did I miss anyone? I don't think I missed anyone, but if I did, I apologize. Hi, Katie. Hi, Laura. Hi, Rebecca. Some people are fine. Yes, so that's why. I usually give a minute or two to start because people get their notifications. They come in, and on a Sunday morning, are we coffee, tea, or caffeine free? Personally, I didn't sleep last night again. Um, though I did drift off. I went to bed around 2. I fell asleep, and then I woke up choking. And I went to sleep again, and then I dreamed that I was dying, and I was like, okay, if it's my time, I'm ready. But I woke up, and I was still in my body. I was like, oh, I guess not yet. So there's some really the point of me saying this is there's some really intense energy going on now. I don't know if it's just like the higher energies that are dislodging a lot of like lower crap, and I'm just purging, and I'm not sleeping, having these dreams, or if the powers want to control everybody have upgraded their frequency generators and are trying to level more control over us that way. Of course, I have my Wi-Fi. Though I don't live where there's a cell signal, so I'm good that way. No 5G here. But anyway, how are you guys doing? How's your sleep going? So I've got black tea. I've got lemon water. I had an orange, or actually a Tangelo this morning. And here I am. No sleep. So I guess it's just spirit working through me now. So you've been having strange dreams, and woken up every night 2 to 5. Yeah, I actually I have coffee. I should have just made some coffee. I don't drink coffee a lot, but I have it. I have a coffee maker. That would have been smart. But then anyway, uh, so good morning, Kaya and Katie saying, yeah, it's good too. Yes, energies are insane and pushing. Yes, tension is felt more than ever. And went to sleep later yet. Yeah, I generally don't go to bed before 2 a.m. I mean, I'm usually working late, and then I have a little bit of winding time. I mean, I do a little bit of yoga around like 9 p.m., and I tend to eat late also, so that's part of it. So yeah, sleep patterns are definitely off. And I'm sucking down my tea. So, a lot going on. I mean, the energy's crazy in the collective. I mean, the No Kings rally, it creates a bigger and bigger stir as more and more people get involved and more countries get involved. So, if some people are, very, I don't know what the right word is, threatened by it, or I mean, that's the flavor I see on social media with people, posting like a dozen times on how how bad the Democrats are and all that kind of stuff, and it goes both ways, obviously, but I think that there's just that brings up a lot and a lot of anxiety in the collective. We have no planets are retrograde now. Mercury's still in the shadow till early next week, I believe. In the Western astrology, it's got to hit 22 degrees Pisces, then it's out of its shadow. So I think that happens next week. We have April 4th coming up. We had the comet. I did a video yesterday. A lot of you saw that, or some of you did anyway. So April 4th is when comet 2026 A1 maps is goes right through the sun's corona. There's more suns. There's about 140 sunspots now. So we're almost like in a mini secondary maximum, even though we're in the descending phase. And I think as the comet gets close and goes through the corona, it interferes with the sun's, well, I should say interferes and interacts with the sun's electromagnetism. And if sunspots are angled towards Earth and everything else is just right, that could be the catalyst to get some big flares to fire here. Then again, April 20th. April 20th is when the astrologers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Mercury and Mars is conjuncting Saturn and Neptune. Now, Saturn and Neptune are about 3 degrees off. They had their big conjunction in February, or 2 degrees off an exact conjunction, but it's still an astrological conjunction. You have all 4 of those planets. I think other planets are doing something else, and of course Pluto and Uranus are still sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So it's very strong astrology, very strong energy. And then April 4th is also when Martin Luther King was assassinated. And it's right around, I forgot to add this to the video that I uploaded yesterday, but another interesting thing about this comet, and there's the fireballs too. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So the comet, we will get to the tarot in a minute. So for those of you that are new, I often start out this way. I shouldn't say you start out this way, or we do, I do. But one thing I didn't add is that April 5th this year, which is also my dad's birthday. I think it's April 5th. Is Easter, which is the celebration of rebirth and resurrection. So we had the comet, the Kreutz family comet, or Sungrazer comet, living up to its reputation as part of the Sungrazer family, and it's going deep within the sun's corona. I mean, it may not survive the journey around the sun. I think it will, but it might not, because the sun's corona is 10 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And then we have the fireballs, and the Earth just happens to be passing through what would be the debris field of Three-Eye Atlas anti-tail, or the tail that shot towards the sun rather than away from the sun. And there's different theories that are coming out. I mean, I think it's Three-Eye Atlas. I think we're getting debris, and I also think that that even if that's true, and NASA's analyzing the meteors that have been recovered, I don't think they'll tell us the truth, even if they find out that it's not from the solar system. I mean, they hid the photos from the Mars probes of Three-Eye Atlas for a month under the guise of government shutdown. Meanwhile, other NASA operations were happening. So there's a lot of cover-ups there anyway. The other theory, so I have 2 theories about that. Three-Eye Atlas is the strongest theory. The whole thing about more fireballs around the spring equinox is pretty much debunked, because there's been over twice as many in March than any other month since they've been keeping records. Or that people are, there's the whole more eyes to the sky thing. People have had cell phones in their pockets taking shots for a decade now, so that theory doesn't hold. So the only other one that could be true also is that the solar system is moving through space, right? It's not like it's stagnant. Like, as the Earth's orbiting the sun, the whole solar system is moving through space. I guess orbiting around galactic center. It's possible that the Earth just happened to pass through, a comet debris field that might be, hundreds of thousands or even millions of years, probably not millions, but hundreds of thousands of years old, that they would have no way of knowing that a comet passed through a certain region of space like 100,000 years ago. So that's a possibility also, and it could just happen to coincidentally line up, and the Earth just happens to be passing through where the debris field, the 3A atlas, would be. But those are the first two, and Ben Davidson thought that maybe it was like space junk or rather than meteors, but they've recovered a lot of meteors. So anyway, it's interesting stuff. So what else are you guys saying before we do our tarot thing? Sleep patterns have been erratic. Yeah, I think that's the theme. I know it's not just me. Oh yeah. This is I mean it obviously it's a colored crystal ball. But it still is pretty cool by the Bastet stand. So this is Bastet, the cat goddess, the Egyptian cat goddess. So there's 3 of them. So very cool stuff. Yeah. So let's see what else you guys say before I go in. The Great Rising to Yvonne. Yes. So I just learned he was the Hotel Cairo 10 days before he passed after he met with 2 rabbis. All right. Sorry. So I missed something else that we said. Hey, Betsy. And what are we saying? Your cousin, I didn't know. Well, it's totally lost it on Facebook page after I posted pics of some posters I like from the No King. Yeah, it's just so stressful. It's just kicking up all this stuff. I mean, yeah, and I had strange read a few months ago, politically related, yet others seem. Yeah, I mean, last night was beyond interesting. I think I need to do an energy detox, to be honest. Because I work a lot with the public, obviously, and I'm kind of sort of, I wouldn't say in the middle. I'm just nonpartisan because I in my view anyway, there's forces that are controlling both parties. So I mean, it's if you don't get too caught up in the programming, it's fine to take a side. I don't think that's wrong or anything. But I like to take a broader view of why things are the way they are, how the masses are getting programmed by this whole political divide and what it's doing to people, like you were mentioning on Facebook, how it's ruining friendships, it's ruining family relationships. It's getting people into a lower vibration by being anxious, angry at the other side, and all this stuff. And I think, like I said, it's good to be aware and to have opinions, right? And have feelings and thoughts about what's going on. And maybe one side is more wrong than the other side. But whatever the case, we have to be able to do that from our hearts, not from this ridiculous orchestrated divide that we're all having to live through, right? So yeah, you should be able to post photos from the No Kings rally. That was a big deal, and it's international now without getting lambasted on social media. Like you should be able to do that, express your opinions on things. Conversely, if you're more MAGA oriented in mindset, you should be able to post what your views are without the other side, telling you that you're an idiot or whatever it is. It's like if we could be open in the heart and just acknowledge other people have different views, we might learn something and grow and might realize that at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all want freedom. We all want sovereignty. We all want to grow. We all want our country and our world to be great. We just have different views of how to get there, basically. And my feeling from the founding fathers or whatever, or founding mothers or whatever, is that that the whole idea of having the two parties is for growth and for people to connect and understand other points of view, not to fight each other. But anyway, that's just what I think. What do you guys think about that? So Betsy's saying exactly, and Millie says that then it's doing exactly why those movements get put in place to divide people. It's all a distraction. Yeah, that's true. But still, people should be able to post freaking photos without getting attacked. But I agree with you, Melly. I agree. They want to divide and conquer. Yeah, it's a uniparty, right? You know, a lot of them are cousins. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if like Trump and and not Obama, maybe they are distant cousins. Who knows? You know, it's kind of like the European monarchy. They're all related. You know, the King of Spain was the cousin of the Queen of England, and all that. It's all connected to those ruling families, right? It all comes down to um, the deep state or the globalists, you know, the ruling parties. That's what I was trying to say. Um, and and right, if people would not jump on the bandwagon and just ignore that, yeah, I ignore the best I can. I was scrolling this morning and I was like, you know, somebody was posting something and I just wanted to comment and say, you have something that might have been contrary. And then I was like, you know, why would I want to feed this energy? I don't. Just let it go, Adam. Just let it go, right? And you know, of course, I don't have all the answers to. Of course, we all think we have all the answers, but in reality, we don't. um, let's do some tarot. I'm gonna check out something, but I just wanted to lay that groundwork. So between the rally and the astrology and the comets and the fireballs and also you can talk about things like more extraterrestrial. There's been more sightings of Sasquatch, right? More people are seeing that. I had an encounter when I was one summer. I was living in the Sierra Nevadas, camping out all summer. It didn't rain a drop all summer there, but I was by a creek. You know, there's like a little campers on. I mean, it's on a friend's property that he never uses, but it's all woods basically, and there's like a family of Sasquatch there. And the one encounter, I never saw them, which was the really weird thing. I heard them, and one day I was hiking on the ridge top. Everything was still. I didn't even hear any birds, but when they're close, you hear the breathing. It's a loud breathing. And then I heard the footsteps. It was loud. And the thing had to have been no more than 10, 15 feet away from me, but I couldn't see it. And my first thought was I was scared. Yeah, that was my first thought. Like this, there's a huge being somewhere around me that I cannot see. Then after maybe 10, 15 seconds, I was like, okay, well, if this thing wanted to kill me, I'd be dead. All right. Okay. And I tried to see it. I couldn't. Then eventually it went away. And then I'd get communications like they're extraterrestrial, I think, or maybe they're interdimensional. That's why maybe I didn't see them, or they're masters of camouflage, one or the other. But either way, and then different times during that summer, I'd encounter them, but at a greater distance. So when I see people like Lily Nova starting to talk more about the Sasquatch, I'm like, yeah, no, I think they're onto something because I've had my own experiences around that. And so I think that that's another positive thing, that there's more higher intelligences that are trying to help us through this period where we have to get through this divide and ascend, basically. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our classroom. And if you look at it that way, it still can be uncomfortable, but then you can see there's a greater picture, right? You know, that's set up for our learning and growth. Just like in the Native American legend, there's the legend of the coyote, the trickster that tricks people into learning and growing. Well, we have a big orange coyote running the United States now, but at the end of the day, perhaps he's playing a role, and perhaps we need to see beyond, you know, the long tweets and all that stuff, and the narcissism and all that. I mean, it's hard to watch what's going on if you're a an environmentalist and a humanitarian. It's very hard to see that, but I think there's a broader perspective. Anyway, I'm going to just see a couple more comments, and we're 20 minutes in. Got to get into some tarot stuff. What do you guys say? Chase Hughes. Yeah, I've got to check out some of these people on how to recognize a Saya. Yeah, I think I kind of knew that intrinsically, although I'd love to see what he's saying about that. Um, but once I was only 19 when I had my initial awakening. It's like I could see two faces on people, and I knew when people were hiding things, and it kind of didn't help me socially, I have to say. But anyway, higher in the QHHT session of people coming on the streets, exactly what needs to happen because they have to discharge anger. This is true. And then they have to get together and overcome their differences, right? So that I guess that would be the next phase, maybe. You're saying, good morning, Mary. Um, uh, Yeah, that's what I try to do. But every now and then I have a little falling from grace, and then I regret it later on. Yeah. All right. Beyond the Pale Horse. I've heard of that book, but I don't remember or know what it is. Exit Stage Left. Yeah, that's a live album by Rush. Also, Exit Stage Left. Yeah, they're basically all actors. Yeah. Even though I still do my yoga practice. I'm still a student too. Yeah, I think he's got a point. Hello, Egypt. Welcome to our live. So anyway, yeah, you've missed a pretty lively conversation for the first 20 minutes, but now finally, being that it's tarot time, we should do some tarot, maybe, right? So let's do that. Oh my goodness. I think I'm getting used to not sleeping, and what happens to me is I just get more silly and more punchy than anything. Maybe you can tell, but I feel like my guides are here saying, "Well, the other thing is that I'm not so much thinking about what I'm saying; I'm just blurting it out. And sometimes when you do that, you're actually channeling. So I think I do more channeling when I don't sleep. You try to fall asleep and you wake up like you're being strangled, and you try to fall asleep again, and then you have a dream that you're dying, and you'll experience that. I was like, it was like I was in my dream, I was having a heart attack. It's lovely, right? I know that my heart's good. I mean, I had major surgery years and years ago, but my all my levels are good. I don't have plaque. I'm not going to get a heart attack, but in the dream, it's like I had it, and I was like, oh boy, this is the big one. This is what I was saying in my dream. This is it. This is it. And I just relax and just let go and say, if it's my time, it's my time. But instead of dying, I woke up. I was like, what? I'm back in this meat suit still? Wait, what? No false promises. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I'm going to do a major cleanse today. I'm going to clean my whole space because I haven't cleaned in 2 weeks. Well, other than the bathrooms and kitchens. I'm not disgusting, just to let you know. But I've been cleaning the rest of my home for 2 weeks. And a good vibrational cleansing. And I'm going to do. I'm fasting today. I've got lemon water, and then do some cleansing rituals for myself when I'm done cleaning. Like I said, I'm in the public, right? And because I don't take side, everyone thinks I'm against them. So it's not inconceivable that I'm dealing with some somebody trying to send me bad spirits and stuff. I've dealt with that many times before. I deal with it, and it goes away basically. So it's nothing new. So anyhow, so let's do our meditation card. Only half the view. What? Only half the viewers of like. And there's only 37 on. Where's everybody today? Maybe they're all sleeping. I'm jealous of you guys. Spiritual hygiene is important, and I think this is a sign that, especially today, when there's so much the energy, those that want to control us don't want us to be spiritual, right? So we get attacked. Um, uh, I know you guys are just too many interesting comments. I'm trying to get into the tarot. My grandpa is actual fascist and Nazi. Wow, that's amazing. I hate that. Oh yeah. It was kind of like sleep paralysis in a way, but I was in a dream. But I thought I was really, in the dream, I thought I was really dying. Um, yeah, Grandpa was right. Exactly. I know they can. You thank you, Overland. Also, um, yeah, I used to experience that a lot as a child. I experience it less now sometimes, and but from what I understand, if you can sit with that and just go with it, you may start to astral travel. That's often the next step, especially if you get the shakes when you have the sleep paralysis, or you get the whole body shakes. That's like the precursor to conscious astral traveling. I don't know if I'll ever astral travel consciously this lifetime, because when I was 4, and I was born in 1958, I was in the hospital for pneumonia, and they give the little ones narcotics, lovely, right? Codeine to be specific, and I kept leaving my body. Like I was like 4 years old and in the hospital, and then I'd find myself like on the ceiling looking at my body, and with all my might I'd struggle back into my body. I'd do it again till I finally fell asleep. And I think that ruined me for life, for having astral travel experiences other than sleeping. I feel like my guys are like, nonsense. Like, I know how to overcome traumas. It's like, they're like, nonsense. All right. Anyway, the long promised meditation card is a coming. Yeah, so if you wanted to, you should you maybe already have, but look into the Robert Monroe material, and you may get some pointers on how to take that to the level of astral travel, if you want to do that. No, I do remote view, but I don't leave my body, or remote sense. I mean, I'm not a government trained remote viewer, but I can send my consciousness to objects, like when I did the 3-eye atlas, and as what was known came out, it showed that a lot of what I picked up was correct about it. What can be proven anyways. So anyhow, clearing my mind. Oh, this is a nice card. So this could be a spirit guide. This is the Queen of Pentacles. So meditating with tarot for the new people, the way that I do it and recommend is, like, the first step is to get present. So relax shoulders, chin, and forehead. If you can relax your shoulders, like let all the tension off your shoulders, and soften the chin and cheeks, and then soften the forehead. The rest of the body has a tendency to let go and relax on its own. So if you can do that, and then just send waves of relaxation down, and be aware of your breath, and be present in the now, that you're not your name or your body, your energy, spirit, basically. So if you can get to that level of presence, be aware of what you're feeling. Then in your mind, step into the card. This is the Queen of Pentacles of the Hanson Roberts deck. If you have your own tarot cards, you could pull that out. Queens are about water, although some tarot people say queens are earth. To me, queens are water and pages are earth. But whatever the case, it's a feminine, obviously it's the queen. And pentacles represents earth. So this is maybe about how to be grounded, or if there's financial issues, maybe you can ask this guide, what to do about that, because sometimes pentacles can represent money, but it represents earth. And the pentacle, the sign of the pentacle is the 5 elements in perfect balance, and the circle is like life everlasting. It's like the head, it's like you could be a human pentacle, and your head is like spirit, then one arm it might be earth, or air. The other one might be fire. Then the one leg water, one leg earth, and that's what Pentacles really represents symbolically. She's got a rabbit in this deck, abundance, right? Rabbits are very abundant. So when you step into the card, so you gauge what you're feeling, you're present. It's like just be aware where you're feeling. As soon as you step in, you're stepping out of one reality into another. Each tarot card's a portal basically to another energy level, and just gauge what you feel as soon as you step in. Don't try to intellectualize or say, well, do I feel sad? Do I feel happy? Just get it, right? Don't think about it. And then look around, maybe. What do you smell, hear, taste? And this figure is right at the doorway, but it's a whole panoramic view that you don't see in the card. So what's in this world? What is this guy trying to tell you? Get messages and that kind of a thing. So this tells me they want us to work on grounding, but they also want us to work on opening. It's almost like grounding on one hand, but expanding and growing through the heart on another hand. So do your heart brain coherence. We have at least a half dozen videos on how to do the practice on the Medium channel, or you can do like yoga practices that also work with the heart frequency. The idea is when you're able to reconnect the heart and the brain energetically, then you tap in more into spirit and your higher self, and you start to awaken and open your higher gifts that way. So it's just a practice of focused gratitude, to meditative practice of feeling grateful and compassionate, feeling your brain and heart sinking, because they're sinking. They show me horses. So I think that's spirit's way of saying this is a way to empower, is to do heart brain coherence. I like to do breathing exercises and other things for the heart. I'm going to be doing a lot of that work in Spirit Fest 2026 from from July the 29th, August the 2nd in the Catskills. So we're going to do a very high-end spiritual retreat here. There'll be information on the pinned comment if anyone's interested. I'm just checking out your comments, and then we're going to do a 3-card spread. That's your card, right? Because you're an earth sign. Good pickup. Yeah. You're welcome, Laura. All right, let me just do a couple more comments, and then we'll go back. Here, I hear is can imagine practicing get back in body. Oh, okay. No, knowing it can be very, very scary. Yeah, it can be when you leave your body. Yeah, some things seem or experience when out of body can be very scary. All of us. Yeah, that's why it's hard for people to do because it is. And Kathleen saying that I had one sleep paralysis experience once in my life. I was terrified. I had no control. Yeah, you feel out of control when that happens. I thought yeah, it's a little bit scary, right? And Kathleen, okay. I never had sleep paralysis, but the opposite is you're not remaining still and run out as around. Yeah, I used to sleepwalk too when I was a child. Yeah, I had all kinds of things. All right, so 3-card spread. Let's see what saying. Now, it's interesting. Last week we got all the swords. Remember, like I don't know, it was 10 of swords, all the swords. I was like, brace yourselves. Although sometimes it can be the week after, and yeah, it was a very energetic week, and a lot went down. But thankfully, it was a little bit underwhelming. There's some, I guess, at least on paper or on the surface, I think some accord reached with the U.S. involvement in the Iran and Israeli Middle Eastern conflict. So, I mean, there's still bombing, so I don't know, but apparently some accord or delay was reached. And there's been a lot with the air travel, right? That's been a mess, but that was. I would say that was part of the March forecast, but also part of the February forecast, part of the January forecast. There's certain themes that every monthly forecast have been part of, and air travel delays have definitely been that, and pretty much every month they verified. But this month with the with the partial shutdown, I think it's been even worse. And the next, we might be dealing with a volcano soon. because the Earth's really charged up or mega quake. Volcanoes can reroute things. Severe solar activity can ground planes for a while because they're getting smart enough to know they don't want their pilots and stewardesses flying through high radiation zones. Yeah, that's what happens sometimes when there's a lot of solar storming, that the radiation levels are elevated at flight level. So there's a lot of things in today's world that can do that. And with the weakening magnetic field, when you get just 3 M-class flares banding together, they didn't even band together. I think one rode the shock wave of one behind it, but they didn't technically phase at all. And you still get G3 storming out of it. Like something's different, so the Earth's magnetic field is indeed weakening. It is indeed changing. And it's, on one hand, it's allowing more light code, more information to be transmitted from the sun into the collective field. So that's part of the upgrade. But on another hand, the Earth's very vulnerable. And now we have the comets, we have the Ryger cycle peaks around now, which is kind of a shorter, and it's hard to find information on that because it's less known. So it may still be theoretical, but every about 4 to 4.5 months, there's a Ryger cycle max, and there tend to be more sunspots. So we went from under 100 to over 140 sunspots in the last week. So I think that's happening. Add some comet for a little flavor to interfere with the sun circuitry, and we could get around August 4th, there could be a big solar event if there's Earth facing or directed sunspots. And then April 4th, and then April 20th. That's the other comet. What's that one? Comet 2025 R3 Pan-STAR, and that's coming. It's not close to the sun. It's within the orbit of Venus, though, so it's close enough to have some effect. But then we have the planetary alignments, and those have been shown also to have some effect on the sun, at least through pattern recognition. I don't think that, although I've been seeing more papers coming out. I don't have time to read them all, but sometimes I scan them, starting to show the link between things like not necessarily astrology, but definitely things like comets and things going on in the solar system that can affect the sun. But what they've really been showing more and more of is how the solar activity does indeed charge the atmosphere and charge the Earth, and they are noticing patterns of more earthquake and volcanic activity as well as extreme weather, after these major solar events. So I love it when the science really starts proving what people like myself have been feeling all along. So that's always a good thing. Hello, Beverly Wood, and anybody else that's new. Yeah. So we've been talking about all this stuff. Yeah. About the energies and the frequencies and how that's used to the different frequencies affect our circuitry, our personal circuitry, certain ways. And even probably back in the 50s, around the Philadelphia experiment era, I think that was in the 50s. But certainly around the Montauk Project, they were using radio waves and experimenting with those. Now they have more sophisticated, because they have the microwaves. It's more sophisticated, low frequency light radiation that can be used, so the patterns can affect our electromagnetic, affect our minds and everything. But the more in the heart you are, then your own electromagnetism is stronger, and it resists some of that outside interference. Another reason to do heart-brain coherence, to build the frequencies of the heart. Anyhow, let me clear my mind. So we want to do a 3-card spread. We'll do a few other divination tools. In about 20 minutes or so, we will do some energy work, some transmission work with the master teachers. Go I did remember my clipboard. Interesting week, interesting energy. This Four of Swords rest, right? Like the figures resting. So it's the Four of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Six of Wands. So we have 2 out of 3 on horseback. So that's movement, that's change, right? So we do see changing currents in the world. This is a victory after strife. So, we may by next weekend or the following week get some better news on some of the global conflicts, like the Iran situation. One of the other things in the spring, and I think it was the spring psychic forecast, they showed the troops like in the Middle East going south. Like I had that image and I interpreted it as other countries and the southern Persian Gulf getting involved. I think, what was it, Yemen or I recently saw like that it's indeed playing out. Of course, Israel and Palestine are also in the southern portion of that. But this could also be ground troops. It could be that. I also feel like this just popped in that over the next week or two, there may be something that comes up around, Donald Trump's cognitive testing or something like that, or health. So keep an eye on that. That's one of the predictions from a while back that right around April 4th again, that could be a very defining time. Not necessarily for just Trump, but for world politics, world leaders in general. So I think somebody's got to somewhere has to be aware of, I guess, like not just April 4th, but always be aware of some kind of assassination attempt or terrorist thing. Something like that. History, everything moves in waves and cycles. And of course, Dr. King was assassinated on April the 4th. That's like the song Pride in the Name of Love by YouTube, or Early Morning, April 4th, shots ring out in the Memphis sky. I think that's the words. And then I forgot the lyrics or something like they took your life, but they could not take your pride, in the name of love. So it's all about Martin Luther King. But I like the Six of Wands. That's hopeful energy. So try to hang in there. I think for us, try to rest. I think in our community, this Knight of Swords can be challenging energy. So to be aware that whether it's, people in your own life, your family, your job environment, or on social media, just be aware that you may get attacked by somebody or something. But at the same time, as I look at this card, it's also showing me that this also means like being the knight, like charging forward, like not running away from battle, but being a spiritual warrior, like warriorship. It's not about war, even though that's the first 3 letters, at least in it is, but it's not. The idea with that is that we have to be able to defend ourselves and not to look for war, but to be able to respond if the war comes to us, that kind of a thing. So that's the difference between being a victim. It's like, everything's done to me. If you're more of a warrior mentality, it's like, even though this is happening outside of myself, I want to find out what inside of myself might have, I don't want to say created it, but what's the right word? Or attracted it. That's the word. Like attracted this person, this scenario, this job, this lover, whatever it is. This world, like collectively, we created the scenario. So law of attraction work is tricky, and a lot of the teachers don't mention the fact that collectively we are creating our reality. So individually, we have to be aware that we're working within a collective field. And if you're trying to create something that's sort of going against that grain, you just have to be patient and keep doing it. And the other thing that gets missed is karma. It's like we have certain lessons and experiences. And so for some people, like doing money manifestation, it absolutely works. You become the vibration of something you attracted. But what if there's karma a soul's choice that you're not supposed to have money right now. It ain't going to work. That's the bottom line. It's not going to work. That doesn't mean the law of attraction doesn't work. It means that we are here to learn and grow. We have to understand and respect that. We have to work with spirit. And I feel like as I'm talking, they're saying, well, the idea is you still work on what your desires are, but once you learn the lesson and grow, that's what karma is. Once you accept and embrace your where you are in the now moment, rather than trying to fight it, that's really how one of the ways you can work through the karma is through acceptance and gratitude for what we do have. Then I think we learn the lesson, and then we can start to shift the karma. Karma's not a life sentence. I'll put it to you that way. It's meant to help us to learn and grow and process things. So anyhow, I think a lot of stuff is coming up. I think that's the other meaning of this for us in this community. I think a lot of subconscious things are coming up. So be good to yourselves, be kind to yourselves, feed yourself well, do some cleansing if you want. Because we're being tested a lot now. And for me, it's the test of not sleeping and, waking up, being strangled by some negative entities. That's a little bit challenging, but I know in my mind they can't really hurt me and they can't scare me either. Just like when I had the dream that I was having the heart attack, or I was only half asleep. I wasn't afraid. I was like, oh, okay, I'm dying. Cool. That's kind of my attitude. I just let go. I felt the rush of energy because I remember deaths from other lifetimes. It's like it's like to me, it was like traveling at about 11 G's out of my body, like zipping out. And then I woke up and I was like, hey, I'm still in this body. Wait, you lied. All right. I know I'm being repetitive now, but I haven't slept for a week. Well, no, the night not last night, but the night before last, I slept about 5 hours. That was the only real sleep I had all week. I felt so good. Then I did 4 hours of reading that day. So anyway, let's do some other divination stuff. Right, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? It's more complicated than the individual. There's other forces involved. So, I love law of attraction, but I never gravitated towards like the simplisticness of some teachers. I'll put it that way. Sandra Taylor was a good teacher. I know some of you know her that know Hay House. She's the twin sister of my first mediumship teacher, Sharon Klingler, and she had a good take on it. She had a good broad understanding because she did talk about the dynamics of karma and all the other stuff. And you know what? In my way of thinking, I work on attracting things. I still haven't attract those millions of dollars, even though I'm good at manifestation work. So I've got to look, why is that? It teaches me. So I'm learning probably more from what I'm not attracting to my life than what I am, if that makes sense. At one point I was very lonely. I wanted to attract someone. I was younger. In my life, a soulmate. I did the work within 6 weeks. I was going out with to me was like the dream girl during that time of my life. Also named Betsy. If she ever shows up in my life again, that would be awesome. But Betsy with an E, so she spelled her name Bestey. We had, even though we went our separate ways, we had a beautiful 8-year relationship. So it's all good stuff. So anyhow, so that's basically what if I know I'm doing things right and I'm not, and it's not happening, I understand that there's something I need to learn through the process. So I'm learning it, and you guys will know when things change. You'll know. It's right on the doorstep now. I'm getting signs. So anyhow, so a lot of times it's programming, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. But I'm 67. Those of us that are a little bit older had depression era parents, so we were indoctrinated into lack mentality. So it's in our systems. you keep doing the affirmation. The power of repetition does change the mind. It does change the subconscious. It does work over time. But some of us have to solve the underlying karma also. And usually it's patterns of repeating energy. So, like good example is if you have a tendency to attract abusive people in your life, and you're thinking that you must have been a terrible abuser in your last or other lifetimes, you're probably wrong. You were probably abused in that lifetime also, and those patterns of repeating energy followed you into this lifetime. So you're being called upon to learn, grow, and make different choices, basically. Anyhow, this is the Native American tarot that I have. This is a longer combo. Let's see what this is. I believe it was Haran or her sister Adam to realize they had taken about poverty. Yeah. Once I realized she got past it. Yeah, exactly. And there are processes you can do to change your karma. You can actually transcend and go into the Akashic records and work on changing it that way. No vows of poverty in this lifetime. And I know that I did. I remember, and also I had that in the past life as a Native American elder, teacher, I don't know, medicine man, whatever it was. And I remember that I wasn't, in my position in that particular nation, whatever it was, of the Native Americans. I wasn't, allowed to have like an intimate partner. And then, I remember like having memories of the young people coming to me, asking me for advice about, their romances or whatever, kind of feeling a little bit sad that I can never have that in that lifetime. So, when I met Betsy, I was 24, and I had a couple of relationships, but not really. That was like a huge breakthrough moment in my life where I kind of broke through that vow of chastity, I guess it was, or the vow of celibacy. So in any event, so we can break through those things. Anyhow, yeah. So another Betsy. Hi, Robert. Welcome. I'm Adam. Nice to meet you. Yeah. So the idea is that we can break through that. Yeah. If we know more of our family elders and stories away, we can see how it's differently. Yeah. When we heal ourselves, we heal our ancestry. That's a basic shamanic practice. Stupid iPads. Sharon Klingler, yes. All right, so let me pull one of these cards too. See if we can add a little more information. And I've got a couple of other things I wanted to do and do a little energy work. The card under this. Okay, this card. And the card honor, looks like 4 of wands, 4 of pipes. Honor, I like that. Stay in our hearts, stay in our power. Conscious community. 4 is both grounding, but it's also think outside the box energy. 4 is a square, right? And it's Uranus influence numerology, and Uranus is really about evolution, revolution, sudden change. Also conscious community, because we went into other subjects today. I'm not going to go into like the prepper topic today. We'll do that another time, but it's not too early to think about what are we going to do if the lights go out. And I might include this in the April psychic forecast because I had a feeling that we may have some event where something goes down, and it may be sooner than later. I don't think it's a big one where the grid goes down for X amount of months or even years, but just to remind us how vulnerable we are, especially with the weakening magnetic field. That we need to understand our community, who we can count on, support, and to have, again, if we can gas up our generators or any of that stuff. How will we survive? So I've got a lot of dry food and canned food myself and other supplies. So just look at your comments. Yeah, so we know of the stories of our family, the stories of our ways. We can see how odd it is, still different. Yeah, still needs improvement. Yeah. And I think for where I live now, it is a terror attack. Multiple people have seen that, so we can prep to an extent, yeah, exactly. I mean, that could be it also, but I think the main thing, and it also depends on how society progresses, but if things go too into the transhumanism and the digital control systems and all that stuff, people may just voluntarily move off grid for a while. But I think also, there could be some major solar event. Watch out, solar cycle 26. That's all I have to say. If M-class flares are causing G3 and even G4 geomagnetic storming, and that's just moderate flares. I'd hate to see what an X20 flare would do with a well-formed coronal mass ejection. It would be lights out. I mean, that's the bottom line. It would be lights out. So, we have to be aware of that. Not scared, but aware. The Halloween storm of 2023, they reclassified that as an X45. And those auroras. They were mostly white, but they were bright enough to read by. And at first, I thought they were police cars because it looked like blinking lights, and it went out. These auroras shooting from the north all the way to the south. That nothing. I mean, the only one. The October 2024 was the only one that wasn't cloudy. That was the lesser of the three big ones. It's always cloudy when cool things are happening here. But the latest one in January, those were only X1 flares. X1.9 was the strongest flare. There are 4 flares. One was X1.9, and the interplanetary magnetic field was positive. It was negative. That would have been easily a G5 storm. We might have lost power with that. But even through the cloud, I could see those auroras were pretty bright, but nothing like that Halloween storm. Now, the magnetic field's 3 to 5% weaker than it was in 2003. If that happened again, lights out. So I don't want to scare anybody, but we have to be aware, and because we'll survive. We have higher forces that are watching out for us. So humanity's not going to perish. We're not going to become extinct. We're here to ascend and grow and to awaken. So that's not going to happen. But part of that might be that we have to deal with a global event, and at the end of the day, that will be part of our ascension. So no fear. As I draw a sacred geometry card, I need to do that again to clear my mind. Here we go. This is the card. And the card is Divine Masculine. Did we get Divine Feminine last week or 2 weeks ago? Now we've got Divine Masculine. Divine Feminine is openness and receptivity. Divine Masculine is more action, right? So what it says here, the frequency of Divine Masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. The divine masculine or the divine male is strong but kind. It's not about kicking ass, right? So that's what the sacred geometry looks like. It's interesting that it's got more of a higher chakra, like a blue indigo, energy with it. You're living without water, so I need to get more life straws. You can get life straws, and you can drink right out of the creeks from them. And if you have a way of boiling water, I have 2 different, stoves. One is butane. So if I use it inside, I've got to like leave the window open a little crack, because of the carbon monoxide. And the other one, it's just a little stove where you put wood in, basically. So I've got two different stoves. If you boil water for 10 minutes, that kills the jargon, and I forgot what the other one is, but the stuff in my area that can make you sick from the water. And if you microfilter it, you can filter out pollution and all that stuff. So anyway, that's the divine masculine. Yeah, in the city, it's not as easy, right? I mean, I would definitely, I would definitely recommend people, if you can move out, to try to do that sooner than later, because it's not easy in the city. Where are you going to find a creek in the city? What, the East River? I don't think so. See, that's how my well, not my Betsy, but my first wife Betsy's. That's how she spelled her name. So Betsy Keene, author, founder, book in the history of born, Cape Cod, 1620. Oh, that sounds really interesting. Sounds so interesting to have the ability to read and learn more of the family by the family views at the time. Very good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. Although, George Carlin used to have a little shtick where he'd talk about how he and his buddy swam in the Hudson River. And he said, "Yeah, me and my buddy swam in the Hudson River. There'd be basically turds floating. We still went swimming." He'd say, right, the good old days, right? Then he goes on saying, a lot of the kids were getting polio then also, but me and my buddies weren't getting polio. Why weren't we getting polio? Because we were swimming in the Hudson River with all this bacteria. In other words, he was talking about, do what you need to do with vaccinations. That's a personal choice, but don't ignore like the strengthening the immune system as probably our first and best defense against pathogens. But that said, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, so I believe in science as well. Balance, right? There's different ways of doing things, right? There's some good with modern science, modern technology, and then there's not so good, right? So we have to be aware of the difference. All right, we did this. Yeah, you guys know I already said a couple times I didn't sleep, and it shows. Oh, I want to do the medicine cards, and then the Kyle Gray pull, and then we'll do a little mini transmission. The rest of my medicine cards. Excuse me. Oh, here they are. I was gonna say I only have a partial deck. Here we go. Interesting thing is, in my last lifetime, I had polio. And I actually developed the ability to walk again, but I needed help. But I had polio as a child, and I think rheumatic fever, and then I died in my late 50s that lifetime. But so when I was a kid, I was terrified of polio. It's almost funny. Like I had to make my mom tell me over and over again that I would never get polio because of Dr. Salk's vaccine. That's a very clear memory in my mind. And I used to have recurring dreams where I'd fall flat, try to get up and fall flat on my face because I regained the ability to walk. But then as I got older, I lost it again in that lifetime. And then when I was, it was in my mid-20s, I had a past life recall. And I remembered that I had polio in that lifetime. And then I never had that dream again, not once. I used to have that almost monthly recurring dream. I never had it again after that. So that's kind of cool. Anyways. Opossum. Do we need to play dead now? I mean, I don't know if that's more about camouflage or being clever, or we've gotten a possum once before, and I forgot the book meaning of it, and I think I have the book. I do. But, I look at it as strategy. That's how they save their lives. They feign being dead. Um, I mean, that wouldn't work too well. If a vulture was attacking them, I'm just kidding. uh, Vultures smell death. A possum's not going to fool a vulture into believing that it's dead. Anyway, let me find number. It's number 23 in the number 23. Diversion. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, sometimes create diversions, right? Sometimes we need to do that. So possum's greatest form of protection is to play dead. And doing this, possum confuses many predators into believing the game is over. Sometimes the confused rival walks away or looks in the other direction. Anyway, I think the message is what's the little poem? Possum roll over. Are you really dead, or just playing possum? Was it something I said? All right. That's sometimes they have better poems than that one, but anyway, yeah. So I think it's just kind of saying it's okay to not let people out there know who you are or what you know, basically. Being maybe the next week or two being a little bit more incognito than usual, like on social media and stuff like that. Or if you're this just came to me also, like if you're in some kind of battle with somebody or something like that, make it appear like you've given up. Make it appear to the other person that oh, you're right, I agree, let's be friends, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, like behind the scene, you kind of duck and just give them the finger. F you. It's like, oh yeah, we're fine, right? So, and anyhow, I wanted to do. I have this one's Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. So I've been to use this deck for a while. I'm missing a lot of your comments. Sorry. Italy. Something draws me to Portugal for some reason. Oh, you lived on an RV. I never have. But I know I could do it if you had to. Right, you had the experience, right? Yeah. Yeah, see, look what you're doing now, right? So, it's like sometimes what we think is bad really winds up being good, right? So God bless you, or Goddess bless you, as the case may be. Well, you be a possum then. All right, so let me pull a card. Then we'll do a little healing transmission work before I lose my battery power on my computer. And I went right to this card here. Excuse me. Slippery cards and dry fingers. So we got Summer. Bask enjoying life. This is interesting. And this looks like a bee, I guess. It's interesting. This is like the angels and ancestors oracle cards and summer. Bask in joy and light. So that's great advice. Let's bask in joy and light. Whatever's going on out there, if when you do really do your heart brain coherence and really get into that feeling of gratitude, appreciation, or other techniques to do the same thing, opening those higher heart frequencies, it's like you can't help but to feel joyful, even if you're having a cruddy day or a cruddy year. In those moments, you transcend that and you tap into a higher resonance, right? So I think that's part of it. I mean, in my mind, when I really do my work and visualize, I'm there. Like I'll see myself in Hawaii. I've got unlimited money. I'm going on YouTube, I'm doing a live event, there's 1,000 people on. Well, 1,000 people on. I don't think I can handle more than 1,000 on the live. But you know what I'm saying? You're seeing that I'm making a lot of money through my work, my courses are selling. And when I'm really there in the moment, it's just as good as if I was physically living it. And I think, according to Joe Dispenza and others, that's a sign that I'm on the road to attracting. If I can get to that point where I can feel like the feelings, because at the end of the day, we want to feel good, right? That's what we want. And the better we feel, the closer to God we are. So the higher emotions is more the resonance of great spirit, which is why we want to feel good in the first place. We want to rejoin with God, spirit, or source. So why do we want why would I want a lot of money? I want to be free. I want to see more of the world. I want to help more people. Why would I want a soulmate or a lover if that's what I wanted? I want to feel the feeling of being in love, right? So if you can cultivate those feelings, that's because the hearts are magnetic, and you keep doing that, repeating that over time, you draw those experiences on the physical level to you, and that's how it works. Being that this card just kind of popped up, this is called Mirror Guardian. Is that what that says? Take time to reflect. So this would be like the medicine of heron, like the blue heron that gazes in the pond and sees its reflection. So this is a nice little message. Take time to reflect. And that kind of taps into this card here about rest, reflection. It's like hermit's repose, basically, healing. So a lot of us, we've had very energetically charged weeks, and I think this week we people like me may have more of an opportunity to rest a little bit. Let's do a little transmission work. Lime at 33 in the chat. And I believe in you as Bumble and should fly. Should we? Yes. As again, beginning astrally. Why not? Why not? Whichever is occurring, whatever. And we love you too. And he's saying, wow, I need to write. I was hearing you say that. Thank you. Such reminds me of my children. I want versus how can I? Yes, interesting. So feel like you're hugging your children, holding their hands, having fun with them, wrestling with them, all of that stuff. I have to disagree with the lover part. Free will can destroy soul contracts. They can, yeah. I learned this the hard way, but no one knows that. And it makes me think of the high priest. Yeah, definitely. 'Cause that's a two energy, right? The high priest is reflective. It's lunar energy. So let's go into it. Burn a little Palo Santo could I have it? And no, I'm not smoking a spliff. Don't worry, people. Just kidding. All right. Maybe you can get what's the psychic smell or vicarious smell of beautiful Palo Santo. So let's just get nice and relaxed for a moment. We're going to go along the theme of healing and calming and clearing right now. Yes. We are the master teachers. We are complete, so you are complete. So we will work with you on attaining that which you would call completion in your physical life. But as the channel was saying, excuse me, let me get the channel back. We didn't leave. Here we are, and here you are, reflecting maybe on what is or what we are. And when you look into the mirror, the interesting thing is you're not really seeing what you look like. You're seeing a reflection. It is an opposite view, as it were. It's almost like the negative of the positive, as it were, in photography. Well, back in your olden days when humans developed their own photos. So you are seeing the reflection is not necessarily you. It's almost like imposed impression, as it were. So what you can do during this time is you go in front of the mirror and gaze into your eyes and just relax, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you start to look away. Gaze into your eyes and watch how things distort. Watch how lights show up, how spirits might pop in, how your face changes to resemble a face of a different lifetime. This is very useful energies. But the real gift of reflection is understanding that the mirroring process is that what's reflected on the outside is what is projected from within. The soul's choice is just that. It's a choice from beyond your rational or physical understanding. But it is an absolute choice, as it were. And as you become aware, as you awaken and become aware of your soul, that's when you can truly change the karma, truly change the soul's choice to something different and something better, hopefully. So imagine, visualize you are in a beautiful pond or lake. The water's still, and you can see your reflection, and you can see all the animals around you. Take a moment to gaze in your reflection as we're raising the frequencies. As beings of light and energy, this is what we do. This is our gift to you, our ability to work with your energetic fields, with you, not against your will, of course, to help to raise the frequencies. And higher frequencies or higher wavelengths of energy helps to precipitate awakenings, renewals. And in this case, because there's a big purging energy that you are experiencing, as these higher energies are expanding within your fields and around you, a lot of old stuck stuff is surfacing. So you need not blame your programming machine, your deep state. You can chalk it up to evolution and personal choice, as it were, to ascend and to grow. And part of that is releasing perhaps lifetimes of karma and energy, and perhaps energy of others. It's being released through your vehicle also. It's all good. It's all God. It may not always be pleasant in the human experience. So as you are gazing in that water, as you relax, your mind is clear. You're either seeing it visually through your mind's eye, or you're knowing it's real if you're not a visual person, so to speak. You can make it real in your imagination in other ways. What we wish you to do is to see in your reflection what animal or animals are around you. Maybe flying, crawling, swimming, slithering. We can tell you the image that we perceive through the channel is the image of bats, a bat. Bats are mammals, they're warm-blooded. They use their senses to navigate, not necessarily their physical sight, but their intrinsic senses and knowing. It's a message for the channel for trusting more in what divine brings forth. And perhaps some of you also are moving through similar lessons. But whatever you have, work with that guide at this time. And just let us work in the energy of healing. We will do a little toning. Imagine that we are all holding hands with each other and with the rest of humanity in the world. And think about yourself and anybody that could use some healing, some grounding, some clearing, cleansing, and just to start to feel good again about the process of life. And hold them in your heart. Visualize yourself to feel, see, or know you wrapped it around with green and violet or purple light and white light. And feel that energy wrapping around all the people, all the beings that you are with in the circle, holding hands, and Mother Earth herself. Satanama sa se soham. Satanama sa se soham. Satanama sa se soham. Satanama sa se soham. It doesn't complete. Just take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. Feel you grounded. Feel your roots extending from the base of your spine. Feel a little tailpipe opening in the base of your auric field to let any excess or staticky energy out back to the earth, ground center. Open your eyes. And before we leave, Tuesday at 8 p.m., this will be after Let Spirit Guide. Laura does her readings on her channel. We're going to do the April psychic forecast. I'm not going to have time to do a full moon forecast. That's on the 1st. So Wednesday night, though, we'll do some channeling, some high frequency channeling with the master teachers for the full moon on April the 1st. And this is also another New Year's marking. April 1st on the calendar is considered to be the new year or the spring equinox. I like the perception of Samhain or Halloween being the new year. Personally, that resonates with me, that the time where we celebrate death is really the true beginning of new life. But there's different ways of looking at it, right? Of course. So anyway, that's what's going on the Medium channel. Thank you guys for everything. Yeah, we did a little bit of Satana Ramadasa. That just kind of came to me. So I think the master teachers wanted me to do that. I learned that through Kundalini yoga practice. Apparently, it's a very ancient healing mantra that's been done for thousands of years, and it's really helped me through the years when I've had problems. Doing this mantra and chanting, it's really helped me. So that just popped in to do that. Namaste. Yes, and all of you guys, thanks for everything, for being here. Sneezing? What are you saying? Sneeze always? Cure static pressure? Yeah, it could be. It's always been in my mind lately. And saw a picture of a huge stone and feel old, repeating useful. So I know you guys had a lot of really amazing comments, and I missed a lot of them. So I apologize for that. But you guys all got that. Yes, Satnam. Waheguru, and we will see you next time. Love you all.